Amphibious vehicles are able to seamlessly transition between land and water. They're generally used in the military as landing vehicles, and they look downright awesome. Gibbs Aquada. In the design of an amphibious vehicle, manufacturers often start with either the form of a car that they convert to also work as a boat, or vice versa. But with the Aquada, Gibbs went back to the drawing board and designed a vehicle that would perform well at both tasks, a process that required the submission of more than 60 patents for technical innovations. Powered by a 2.5-liter Rover V6 engine, the result was something that could reach a top speed of 99 miles per hour on land and 31 miles per hour on the water. The company produced a number of units in 2003 and 2004, which became popular as toys for wealthy customers. It was with a Gibbs Aquada that Richard Branson set the record for the fastest crossing of the English Channel in an amphibious vehicle in 2004, and was able to complete the journey in just over 1 hour and 40 minutes, which knocked more than 4 hours off the previous record that had been set more than 34 years previously. Number 9. MSV Explorer. If you've ever dreamt of having your own submarine that you could simply drive down a beach into the water, then the MSV Explorer amphibious semi-submersible is for you. Instead of needing a crane or a tender vessel to load it into the water, it has heavy-duty rubber tracks that are driven by 48-volt intercooler electric motors and can handle gradients of up to 30 degrees, just like those you'd face on a boat ramp, a shoreline, or by driving off a trailer. When in the water, the vehicle is powered by two 25-volt lithium-ion battery packs, which provide up to 110 hours of operation on a single charge. As the name would suggest, it doesn't fully submerge and has a two-person cockpit that remains above the waterline. It gives 180 degrees of viewing for 2 passengers, along with a second viewing dome beneath the waves that's made up of 1.5-inch thick acrylic and has space for another 2 people. To move around, it has a series of thrusters that give it a top speed of 6 knots, and it's extremely agile in both land and water, being capable of making 360-degree turns on the spot. The only catch with an awesome machine like this is the price, and it doesn't come cheap. A base model will set you back at least $300,000, and that's before considering how you'll transport it between the locations you want to explore. Terra Wind Motorhome. Most amphibious vehicles are adapted cars that allow you to cross rivers or drive out into the ocean to explore before returning home afterward. But what if you wanted something that could traverse land and water while you're on your vacation? In 2009, Cool Amphibious Manufacturers International from Ridgeland, South Carolina, came up with a perfect solution: the Terra Wind Motorhome, that not only has a top speed on the freeway of 80 miles per hour, but can also move across a lake at 7 knots. Yes, this RV floats. On the face of it, it's just like any other. It comes with a comfortable interior, a modern kitchen that even has a trash compactor, full-size fridge, and a washer-dryer. But with a teak interior, military-grade aluminum hull, and a fiberglass shell, the 32,000-pound vehicle definitely feels seaworthy too. When it's in the water, flotation aids inflate to help it stay on the surface, and the power from the engine is channeled through 2 19-inch bronze propellers to provide its thrust. It's specifically designed for calm, fresh water, so you won't be able to go into the ocean with this. But if you really want to explore the wilderness, there's nothing better, so long as you can afford the $850,000 price tag. Number 7. The Shaman. Built by the Russian manufacturer Avtoros, the $150,000 Shaman is described as an all-terrain vehicle, and it's designed to cope with everything the harsh Russian countryside can throw at it. With an Iveco F1C 3.0 TD engine, it's able to reach speeds of up to 50 miles per hour on the road, which is impressive considering the 20-foot-long vehicle weighs 4.8 tons. The driver sits in a captain's chair driving position, and there's room on board for 8 passengers. As well as being able to drive on and off-road, extra maneuverability is given by its ability to drive in crab mode, where the wheels move to a position so it drives sideways. Rivers and shallow regions of water are no problem for it either, but if you truly want to explore the outdoors, the Shaman can be fitted with a screw propeller that truly turns it into an amphibious vehicle. This allows it to power through the water at 4.3 miles per hour, and even though its frame is built to be watertight, it also comes with a set of pumps that can remove more than 50 gallons of water from the interior every minute to ensure the innards don't get wet. Number 6. Dobberton Hydro Car. After a 10-year design process and investment of more than $1 million, inventor Rick Dobberton revealed his hydro car in 2010, and it's undoubtedly the coolest amphibious vehicle to ever be created. Looking like a cross between a DeLorean and an airboat, it can turn from a car into a watercraft in just a matter of seconds. After entering the water, its fenders are lowered by almost 8 inches to become full-length pontoons, and then it will fully float. The 762 horsepower Bill Mitchell racing engine switches from rotating the front wheels of the car to instead power the 6-blade stainless steel propeller, and the boat is then ready to speed off. It stays true to its 80s vibes with the design of the interior too, which contains 45 control switches, 16 LED monitoring systems, 25 VDO gauges, and 3 hydraulic levers, all of which are used to control and oversee the vehicle's engine output, axles, stabilizing wings, and various other devices that are required to make it work effectively. The Hydro car truly is a one-of-a-kind vehicle, but with an asking price in excess of $1 million last time it was put up for sale, it's no surprise that there's limited interest from buyers. Number 5. The Bi-Ski. The New Zealand company Gibbs has become renowned for its amphibious vehicles in recent years, and one of the more affordable and exhilarating designs that they've come up with is the Bi-Ski, which is essentially a cross between a motorbike and a jet ski. One of the most impressive things about it is how quickly it can change from one to another, and it's as easy as pushing one button. Riders can drive the bike into the water, press the button, and the jet propulsion will be engaged in less than 5 seconds. Furthermore, the Bi-Ski has some serious power behind it for its size, which means that it's fast and nimble across land and water. It has a 55 horsepower twin-cylinder petrol engine, but because it only weighs a total of 500 pounds, this is more than enough to reach a top speed of 80 miles per hour on the roads and 37 miles per hour on flat water. The company has thought of everything you need to use the Bi-Ski in a practical way, even to the extent that it has lights needed to legally navigate the road and marine environments alongside other vehicles. It's great fun, easily adaptable, and much cheaper than larger alternatives, which is why the Bi-Ski is one of the most popular amphibious vehicles available right now. Number 4. Iveco Super AV. While the AAV-7A1 assault amphibious vehicle may have proved itself to be reliable enough to be the model used by the U.S. Marines over the past few decades, it's now proving to be out of date. After a series of proposed replacements, those in charge have decided on what the next generation amphibious vehicles will be, the Iveco Super AV. The plan is for the first ones to be delivered by the end of 2020, so they can undergo tests, and if everything goes well, they'll be ready for deployment in 2023, and will begin to gradually replace the AAV. But what makes the Iveco Super AV fit for modern military needs? With a weight of between 15 and 24 tons depending on its setup, the 8-wheel drive vehicle has an Iveco Cursor 13 6-liter turbocharged multi-fuel diesel engine that enables it to reach speeds of up to 65 miles per hour on land and 6.2 miles per hour on water. It has a range of 500 miles on land and 40 miles on water, and it's able to cope with stormy seas without any impact on performance. They can be launched from ships, but also from aircraft such as C-130 Hercules. And Iveco claims that the Super AV has the best protection of any vehicle like it. This is provided by the monocoque steel shell that's incredibly hard and able to absorb the impact of small arms fire, mines, and IEDs. Extra kits can be added to provide fire suppression systems and nuclear, biological, and chemical attack protection to ensure that the 13 people on board are kept safe. A 2-man remote turret can be installed on the Super AV to offer offensive capabilities, depending on the mission requirements. And alternative configurations can be set up to give the vehicle a specialism, such as becoming an armored personnel carrier, an anti-tank vehicle, a command vehicle, an ambulance, and many others. With these advanced capabilities, the Super AV looks set to keep the U.S. Marines ahead of the rest for many years to come. Number 3. Amphicar. You might think that amphibious cars are a relatively recent innovation thanks to technological advancements, but surprisingly, one of the first and certainly the most successful commercial one to ever be put into production was first sold in 1961. Manufactured by the Quant Group, the Amphicar hardly held up against competing cars or boats, but the fact that it offered 2-in-1 meant that customers were willing to sacrifice on performance. It was once said to be the fastest boat on land and the speediest car in the water because of its modest power, but this didn't stop it from becoming one of the most famous amphibious vehicles ever. The designers chose an 1147cc standard SC engine for the vehicle because it was relatively powerful in comparison to its size, and this allowed the Amphicar to reach top speed of 70 miles per hour on land and up to 7 knots when on the water. The fact that it was steered from the front in water and on land meant that it wasn't easy to maneuver as many would like, but by the time the production was ended in 1965, 3,878 of them had been idea of a true amphibious vehicle is that one that looks like a sports car and a sports boat, and you won't find anything better than the Hydra Spider. Designed by Cool Amphibious Manufacturers International, it's an open-top vehicle that first went into production in 2006 and is guaranteed to turn heads wherever you go. It's fitted with a 6-liter LS2 V8 engine that produces 400 horsepower through the front-wheel drive and gives it a top speed on land of 125 miles per hour. Impressively, however, this also translates to a potential top speed of 70 miles per hour on the water, which is plenty to pull water skiers across a lake, which is all the more surprising considering it weighs 1.65 tons. The transition between use on land and water is seamless, and all the driver needs to do is drive into water deep enough to where it starts to float, and then push a button. This causes the wheels to retract and the powertrain connects with the jets to provide thrust in less than 30 seconds. The Spider certainly gives an alternative to buying a sports car, a speedboat, and needing to have a trailer to take it with you everywhere you go. So with that in mind, the price tag of $275,000 for the base model sounds quite reasonable. Of course, you could buy a Ferrari or a Lamborghini for that amount, so if you have the money to spare, you'll have to decide whether driving through the water is really that important to you after the initial novelty value.